evil is inertia. Evil is you not accepting the invitation of God's project. You saying, I don't believe in it, so I'm going to stay in the status quo. When you stay centered on yourself and your diminished capacity, diminished spirit of you, and you don't open up to novelty and potential failure, and then you are participating in evil. Evil to me is inertia. It's the opposite of forward momentum. It's saying to God, I don't trust your vision. I don't trust.
Let's jump in where we left off last week. When you were in Bali, you spent one of the days of Guild weekend. You really wanted to give a presentation on some new thoughts that had kind of landed on you over the winter. And you spoke about a man, I think it's Alfred North Whitehead.
Yes.
He was a mathematician, if I remember things correctly. I'd seen his name in spiritual circles a little bit as having some vast and compelling theories, not looked too much into it, but you sat here and gave a discourse about, I guess, some upgraded and novel perspectives on beauty. And I wonder if you would share on the podcast, probably just an introduction to what it is that you're thinking and you're speaking about.
I heard of Whitehead and kind of peripherally knew about his concepts. But I really came into this is March now, right? We're in March?
Yeah.
So I really came into his awareness of him and his philosophical framework in January. It's brand new to me. And when I discovered it, it was the same realization or epiphany I had when I discovered Roger Scruton's work, which is like, I've been writing about beauty, about this concept of beauty all these years. And then I discovered Roger Scruton, who wrote about it before me and more articulate than me and better than me and more comprehensive than me. I have the same lurching shock to my system when I discovered Whitehead in January, when I really looked at what he was really saying, because everything that I've been trying to understand, everything I've articulated in Ars Amorata framework, which is invitation, which is gratitude, which is subcommunication, which is, all these different things that are the linchpins of what we talk about, Jordan. We've talked about, we have lessons based on gratitude. We have lessons based on subcommunication, invitation. And what I discovered from Whitehead is that he was a mathematician that transferred over to philosophy. He ran the philosophy department at Harvard University in the 1920s, 100 years ago. He wrote a book called Process and Reality 100 years ago. And what he came to understand through his physicist and mathematician background is the nature of reality, the ontology of reality, and which maps to what Ars Amorata has been, what I've been discovering in Ars Amorata. It's not original to me. It's him, and his idea is that beauty is the telos of the universe. In other words, beauty is the purpose of the universe. And I'm thinking, I've been saying that for years, and that God invites us to a better version of the experience, and that Whitehead to me maps onto Ars Amorata philosophy almost 100%, and it's physics based, and it's mathematical based, and it's scientific based, and it's philosophy based, which I don't have any of those backgrounds. Mine's just intuitive, but like Scruton, who said it more articulate than me, Whitehead said it more articulate than me, what I'm trying to say. So I'm really locked onto those two philosophers, I guess you could say. Incredible.
There's a lot of different angles to this, and I guess a lot that you could get caught up trying to explain to have this
Yeah.
make sense to someone who's encountering this for the first time. When you say that beauty is the purpose of the universe, that's very grand and
It's not mine. It's
mystic.
Whitehead.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
mystical, bewildering thing to prophesize or to state.
yeah.
Can you break that down a little bit?
Yeah,
How
I
do
think
we
that
conceive of that from, a much more singular
we talked about
perspective?
we talked about longing in the last episode. We have an ache in our breast, in our heart. We have an ache that not everybody. Some people are just content to just like, live life and go through life. But anybody who's a thinker, a seeker, has an ache in their heart of trying to understand something greater than themselves. And that to me is this call of beauty. It's the call. When you approach a girl and you're tongue tied and you don't know what to say, but you get up your nerve and you go do it. And it might fail spectacularly in that moment to you, but it adds to something of the project of beauty. It adds to the universe. The universe, nothing sincerely attempted is ever lost. And it adds to you, your experience, it adds to her, and adds to the experience. So, um, all I'm saying is like Whitehead's philosophy, which he wrote about 100 years ago, and he was a physicist too. He talked about relativity. He knows these. He was an associate with Einstein. He knows this stuff. But his framework maps onto what I've been trying to understand intuitively, experientially, all these years. So, and he said this phrase, which I agree with: "Beauty is the purpose of the universe." The scientist said that. You know.
So I'm still going to try and get a grip on this.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm wondering.
It's still feeling elusive to me. Yeah. So there's another term that just popped out, which is God's project. So God,
Yeah.
that first of all, there is a God somewhere, and he or she
I'll tell
seems
you
to have
Whitehead's
a
definition of God.
project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whitehead's definition of God, because he's a scientist, mathematician. He wrote a seminal book with Bertrand Russell about the philosophy of mathematics before he went down this path. And they tried for 20 years to write this book, and it was a failure. But they couldn't relate to they couldn't come up with the concept that mathematics has a logical, rational, two is only two in relationship to three, and they couldn't come up with that. Bertrand Russell got discouraged, went down a cynical path, and Whitehead said, "No, wait, I'm encouraged because there's something greater than what I'm thinking." So, um, Whitehead went down this path of philosophical framework, a metaphysical framework, and he had to create the concept of God. He's the one that's saying, not me, that without God, um, there's no sharing of potentialities or possibilities of the future. So, God, in Whitehead's mind, in the scientist's mind, was the one that offered Jordan potential experiences going forward, and you choose one. So you have free will. You're not coerced by God. You're not deterministic. You have free will and to choose. God doesn't know what you're going to choose, but He knows all the potentials that you could choose, and He offers them to you. And when you make a decision, now He adds that to the database of what He knows, the blockchain of what He knows, and then He offers you a new invitation. So that's Whitehead. That's not me, but it really aligns with Ars Amorata. Am I answering your question? I have no idea.
So God seems to have a project, And then within this project, each of us is continually handed a number of different invitations, which
Right.
we may take or therefore decline. And if I have a number of invitations around me on a given day, I can take one or some,
Yes,
but I must deny some others because you can't live out every
that's correct.
potentiality.
That's correct.
So,
You have to choose one or the other, and God doesn't know what you can choose, but He knows all the potentials that you have, Jordan. And you choose one, and you could choose one to more alignment with beauty, or you can choose one that's more misaligned. You know, you know, and and then God doesn't chastise you or say you did the wrong choice. He just says, okay, here's a new choice of beauty. Come to this one. He's got what Whitehead used the word lure. God wants to lure you to more novelty and beauty, and you can reject it.
mhm.
But then in the next moment, he lures you again. It's okay. You rejected it. I get it. And I'm still going to lure you, which is mapped to
How
the invitation aspect of Ars Amorata. Your invitation's out there and you leave it out there. Wow.
how does he lure you to one thing and not another? What are some of the methods?
Just in Whitehead's mind, it's because he presents you new, like in Whitehead, we're not static objects. This is like metaphysical mumbo jumbo, but I'll say it. We're not atoms and particles that make up the basis of reality. What he said is like events make up the basis of reality because particles are probabilities. We know this now from physics, from quantum physics, quantum mechanics. Is nothing is certain. There's only probabilities. So what he's saying, based on that, um, what God does, God is the mechanism that says to Jordan, Jordan is an entity that's becoming every moment. Jordan is different at 30 than he was at 10, but there's a continuity as well. There's something different, but continuity. And so so what God is saying to Jordan, here's the next invitation, what Whitehead called lure, to beauty, to a beauty experience for you. I'm inviting you to that. And Jordan can reject it or accept it. And if you accept it, he invites you to further beauty. If you reject it, he doesn't judge you and say, okay, you're sinned and you're fallen. He just re-invites you to a new version, you know? So that's Whitehead. That's not me. But it maps
Mm.
onto Ars Amorata, which is all invitation, subcommunication, gratitude, you know, forgiveness of your young self. And I think that if we had this framework, then we're not thinking, okay, I went up, talked to the girl and I failed because she ignored me and turned her back on me and I suck and I'm not tall enough. You don't have that framework. You have the framework of I'm participating in God's project of beauty, and the moment didn't materialize, so I continue to contribute to that
Mm.
participation. Beauty is not. I wrote this in my book recently. Beauty's or art is not real until it's been contemplated. Art is not real art unless it's been contemplated. You think about it. And same with beauty. Beauty is not real in the space until it's been contemplated. Anyway, it's abstract.
Surely the artist contemplates their art as they're making it.
What they do, if they're not sentimental artists.
Right.
Sentimental art is art is the concept of art without sadness, without gravity, you know? And so there's a lot of artists that just, do paint ducks on a lake because it looks pretty. And we nod our head, yeah, that's pretty. But it doesn't move us. It doesn't move us to some sense of longing something more,
So
So
I'm still very confused about Whitehead's model and how you explain it. But what I'm kind of seeing as you're speaking
you
is
too.
I'm I'm living inside a possibility machine of sorts, like Jordan in a maze. I don't know if I exist or if there's a coherent Jordan, because I'm only a probability
Well,
anyway.
imagine,
But
Jordan,
it certainly seems that I have events.
I was just going to say, imagine you see a woman over there on the other side of the lounge, and you're standing here with Zan Perion, and you see that woman. And there's something in you that draws your heart, your spirit, your mind. You like the way she's shaped, the way she looks, the way she moves, the way her dress, you know, transports her. Um, that is that's a call to participate in God's project of beauty. And when you don't do it, you fail. You're failing that.
Such a good opening line. I came. I was determined not to fail. Yeah.
Right? Because what else is
So
there? Because one of these days we'll be dead, you know? And what else is there than that? Than that transportive moment with the potent. So the potentiality is the phrasing around this. You don't know. It's quantum probabilities. There's infinite possibilities, and the moment you approach and say, hello, I'm Jordan, it collapses into one. That's quantum collapse. It collapses into a known state. And before you did that, there was unknown states. So how can you judge it and say, well, she's not into me? It's unknown states. It's quantum
yeah.
unknown states in front of you until it collapses
Well,
into one.
I think that's why men don't approach the woman, because they want to keep the unknown infinite states. And then she walks out the room and then they're all gone. But
That's
once it
right.
collapses into one, all of the possibility is then gone. You've had it. That's why
That's
a
right.
lot of men, when they really like a woman, they won't text her because they think by not texting her, I still have the opportunity of texting her tomorrow and it might be better. So that
That's right.
then you get a hesitation.
Because it
There
doesn't
was
collapse.
something. We'll come back to the good and evil thing, because there's something you talked about good and evil being in this moment. What I'm kind of getting though is I could see myself in this project of the cosmos. Let's say I'm Jordan. I may exist or I may not, but I'm wandering around this kind of maze, and every single day possibilities invitations are thrown at me. Billions, actually, if you consider the internet and what I might click on,
That's right.
or how many new places have opened in town, shops, restaurants,
Any
and
place you can
so
go
on.
to, leave the country.
The amount of women in certain places, it's like we're absolutely bewildered with
That's right.
opportunities. Somehow I have to either use some combination of my faculties of perception, what appears beautiful to me, such that I'm attracted to it, or I might trust something like the instrument of my gut or my heart or whatever, like there's something in my body that telegraphs a desire. So I have to rely on certain faculties to make these choices. And hopefully I'm going to be good enough at the game that the choices I make lead me to more and more experiences of beauty more of the time. Whereas if my faculties of perception, or where my desire is taking me up poor choices, I will continually fall down this vortex of
Yes.
um, uh, negative experiences and feelings until you fall into an abyss.
But
Basically, life becomes unbearable because choice upon choice ends up being painful.
imagine, Jordan, a man thinking on this plane as opposed to like, how do I get that girl? It's a different, it's a different conceptual framework that changes everything about the way you look, the way you stand, the way you walk, the way you present yourself. That's a good guy. To me, he doesn't have answers, but he's seeking great questions. You know, he wants to know, he, he's asking good questions. So
I think if you really embody this as a way of seeing the world, you disattach from a lot of suffering instantly, because it's just, that invitation, that was had a positive consequence, or that felt a bit mistaken, but that's just a learning data actually
that's right.
in playing this game of information. It's not about me or about her or about this thing that happened. It was,
That's
you
right.
conceptualize it with a lot of perspective. Can you just finally on this point, can you say something about the good and evil, about when a guy approaches a girl, it it's good thing, or it's an evil thing. Like, that seemed really funny to me when you said it here,
Evil is
live in
an
person.
inertia. This is
Uh-huh.
my thinking. Evil is inertia. Evil is you not accepting the invitation of God's project. You saying, I don't believe in it, so I'm going to stay in the status quo. That's when you stay centered on yourself and your diminished capacity, diminished spirit of you, and you don't open up to novelty and potential failure, and then you are participating in evil. Evil to me is inertia. It's the opposite of forward momentum, and it's saying to God, I don't trust your vision. I don't trust. I haven't thought this through, obviously, but I'm just saying it out loud. It's saying I do not trust that your invitation is real or that is valuable or is contributive. And I'll stay here in inertia, you know, and I'll stay here and wallow in my own pain. So you're looking at the whole thing about this framework of thinking, Jordan, which I'm touching on, but I'm not articulating, is that you look at your failures and your successes in a different way. They're contributive to something bigger than you. If you believe that, then when you do approach a woman, something is different in your spirit because you're thinking on a different plane. So,
And if you keep continually saying no to God's invitations, then you willfully maintain your own inertia,
that's right.
and
The
that's
opposite of
evil.
good is not evil. It's inertia. It's like status quo. It's good enough. I'm gonna stay here. Mediocrity. Mediocrity. I said this a phrase. I can't remember where I put it. I can't say it. Mediocrity is the only thing that is never attacked. If you're excellent, you're attacked. If you're dismal, you're attacked. If you're mediocre in the middle, you never attack. No one cares.
Mm. Well, I'll stop asking the questions and hand it over to the viewer.
I would love to hear the comments of this, Jordan, of this conversation.
Yeah,
I'm,
I need some help. I need some help in
me
this.
too. I'm pushing for
What do we
ideas.
pitch to Zan? Yeah. How do we help clarify this view and share any stories or ideas that you have? And we could do a follow up actually and see how you
Yeah, I would like to hear the comments of this. This is
see how your explorations go in
cutting
the
edge of
light of
what I.
what other people want to bring in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. Until next time. See you soon.